Vultures are among Zimbabwe's threatened species, with all but one of the vultures routinely found in Zimbabwe listed as being endangered or vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. These birds are an important part of the ecosystem, playing a vital role in cleaning up the environment, thereby reducing the spread of diseases and the proliferation of feral animals. However, they are under serious threat from various anthropogenic factors, including poisoning and land use changes. This, coupled with the realization that there are serious gaps in our knowledge of vulture numbers, distribution and ecology in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, in collaboration with Birdlife Zimbabwe, hosted a vulture action planning workshop on the 26th and 27th of March at Rainbow Towers in Harare. The purpose of the meeting was to bring stakeholders together to come up with an action plan that will improve vulture conservation in Zimbabwe.
But we would like to use this opportunity today to create awareness for the role of our vultures in our ecosystems and what is happening in Zimbabwe and in the region.
We are gathered here because of a particular group of birds called vultures. Throughout the African continent, these birds are declining, and Southern Africa is not faring any better.
The workshop was a multi-stakeholder process which saw attendance from government institutions, including the Ministry of Environment, Water and Climate, Environmental Management Agency, Wildlife Veterinary Unit. Representation from civil society included IUCN, Frankfurt Zoological Society, Victoria Falls Wildlife Trust. There are 6 species of vultures found in Zimbabwe. The white-backed vulture. It is the most common vulture in Zimbabwe and can gather at a carcass in large numbers. It feeds greedily and aggressively. The lappet-faced vulture. This is the largest of the country's vultures, with a wingspan of nearly 3 meters. It occurs sparingly over much of Zimbabwe. The Cape vulture. This is the second largest of Zimbabwe's vultures. It is mainly confined to the western, central and southern parts of the country. The white-headed vulture. This is the most attractive of Africa's vultures and walks about with an arrogant demeanor. The hooded vulture. This is a small vulture and dark brown in color. It is fairly uncommon in Zimbabwe, but is attracted to abattoirs. The palm nut vulture. It is very scarce in Zimbabwe, with 1 or possibly 2 isolated populations. Vultures are widely distributed throughout Africa and are wide-ranging species, with many being capable of covering large distances. The best strategies for their conservation is through coordination at national, regional and continental level.
Poisoning is particularly damaging to vultures due to their feeding strategy, leading to mass die-offs, and also their mobility. They have no borders, and we've been talking about a regional strategy, African strategies, Zimbabwean strategies, but I think this is something that we all have recognized, that there is no borders for vultures.
It's not just here in Zimbabwe, it's not just in southern Africa, but Africa's vultures as a whole are in tremendous trouble, and they are declining at an alarming rate. Some people almost liken the rate of decline currently to that which happened in Asia from the 1990s onwards.
In Zimbabwe, all vultures are listed as specially protected animals under the 6th schedule of the Parks and Wildlife Act. At the action planning workshop, the following threats to vultures were identified by the participants.
So There have been a number of important cases of poisoning incidents in Zimbabwe. And you can see that the advent of poisoning of vultures and other species is not a new thing, but it's certainly the drivers behind them and the incidents, the frequency has picked up over recent years.
The main threat now with poisoning, if that hits too much now at this fairly small population of vultures, it's going to have quite a major impact. And so our major effort is to somehow stop that poisoning, and that's what we're trying to discuss at this workshop. The poisoning is coming largely unintentional. That is to say, people are trying to aim at other animals. They're poisoning an elephant for ivory, or they're poisoning a lion because of wildlife conflict, and the vultures collect the poison.
An increasing threat that we've picked up in the last few years is the escalating deaths of vultures related to, specifically in our case, elephants. Elephants are being poisoned and sometimes even deliberately poisoned afterwards so that vultures are killed. We lost more than 200 vultures in an incident in 2012, and we've noticed that has had a direct impact on the level of vultures breeding in Gonorrhea.
Vultures are threatened in Zimbabwe through direct persecution, whereby people simply destroy vulture nests.
One of the challenges that we have been facing over time is that the judiciary system do not have a full appreciation of the importance of wildlife as well as the environment. As a result, the sentences that have been given to other cases that have been taken to courts, we feel that they are not so deterring, and these people, they keep on coming back on the scene, causing these negative impacts, killing wildlife. And the challenge that we have is we have inconsistencies in terms of these sentences. One day a person is sentenced 14 years, the next morning another person is sentenced 2 months. So this is one of the challenges that we face in terms of legislation and the judiciary system.
Agricultural pesticides, some of them have become extremely potent or made extremely potent poisons to control agricultural pests, and these are used indiscriminately, sometimes to target vultures in particular, but sometimes to target animals of economic value, such as elephant for their tusks or rhino for their horns.
With the way that elephants and rhinos are being poached, vultures give away the position of the poachers, so the poachers have got to get rid of the vultures as signals to their activity. So they are now poisoning the vultures.
We also have problems with the multi-trade, with some of the vultures being harvested in the wild to sustain the multi-trade, which is also a problem for our vultures.
These birds are seen as birds of the gods by most people, and people think that they are divine entities that provide foresight into the unknown. And in the Wele, they're actually called Omabonawude, that means birds that can see far. And this really is the basis of their use in traditional medicine.
One of the groups that we're talking to are the traditional healers. We want to stop, if we can, the use of vultures for these superstitious purposes. People think that the vultures dream of where the carcasses are, and now they want to use that facility, that characteristic of the vultures. It's superstition. It doesn't work. We've got to stop that.
The workshop concluded with formation of the Vulture Working Group, involving various institutions which contributed to the writing of the Vulture Action Plan.
The workshop that's taken place here in Zimbabwe is an incredibly important part of galvanizing local action within Zimbabwe towards the conservation of these birds. It's encouraging to see the number of stakeholders and role players that have come together here over the last 2 days to work towards the conservation of these birds, to come up with a tangible plan with very clear ideas and actions of what should be done to conserve these birds. And I think you as a country deserve congratulations. The organizers also deserve congratulations for doing this and for putting this together. And from a Southern African perspective and an African perspective, I can assure you that you have colleagues in other countries in Africa that feel the same way, that want to do the same work, and that are striving towards very much the same sort of goals that you do. And it's an opportunity for you to not just make a difference within Zimbabwe, but also make a difference to vulture populations across the continent with what you plan to do here.
So the message is we need to act now. And each and every one of us needs to play their part in making sure we have a future for Zimbabwe's vultures.